Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that's crazy. Okay, so it's been a while since I've done my top 15 to top 20 prospects in the draft, and let's just say there are new places, new faces, new races, everything. As we all know, the 2026 draft is going to be one of the deepest draft classes we've seen in a while. And it's so crazy how I've gone on other platforms, I've talked to other people, and I've hyped up draft classes in the past, whether it was the 2025 draft or I said the 2024 draft was not as bad as a lot of people were making it seem, but yet, people don't want to believe me yet. I've been talking about this 2026 draft class before the 2025 draft hit. And I've been saying it was going to be great. There's a multitude of very, very intriguing prospects at every single level. Where do you want to look at? Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. There's really good prospects at every single level. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys grab some snacks, sit back and relax, and we are going to get right into this top 20 prospects of the 2026 NBA draft. Like you guys know, as time goes along, we're going to go from 20 to 25 to 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 to where I can do my top 60 board of this draft class. And without further being said, let's get right to it. At number 1, I'm going to go with Darren Peterson. I had to move my camera just to let you guys fully see what my board is going to look like. As we all know, I've spoke about the big three for a long time now. I think this is probably like a 1A, 1B, 1C conversation when we talk about them. And it really just looks at what you're preferring or what your values are when you look at prospects in the 2026 NBA draft. I think all three of these guys can be all NBA caliber players. But with Darren Peterson, I just think there's more of a versatile scoring level that Darren Peterson can get to that I don't think AJ Dybantsa has shown yet, and Cam Boozer I don't think can get to, with the off-ball scoring, on-ball scoring, the ability to hit pull-up threes and hit threes off the catch, and the ability to drive to the rim to the level that we don't see from guards as often, in the athleticism and how much lift he gets on his jump shot. Now, I've talked about a lot of some of my concerns I've had with Darren Peterson and his game. Sometimes I feel his shots are a little predetermined. Sometimes I feel as though he doesn't take what the defense gives him. Sometimes I feel as though he has his shot in his head before he gets the ball and he knows what he's going to do, even though he could be going against drop and he'll try and drive all the way into the drop instead of taking the mid-range shot that the defense is giving him. Or if the defense decides to blitz, he may not get off the ball quick enough and he'll try to split it and get to a more difficult shot. Those are things that I believe that can come with time and just progression throughout the game. But with what I see right now, I think Darren Peterson is the best off-ball scorer out of the three. I think he's the best ball handler out of the three. And I think he's the best off-ball player out of the three. But still all three fantastic prospects. And that leads me to go to my number 2 prospect, which would be Cameron Boozer for the Duke Blue Devils. Cam Boozer sits at about a 6'9", 6'10", and I feel as though I was sliding him just a little bit when we talked about some of these guys, especially over the past few weeks where I said he dominates the ball. All three of these guys dominate the ball, whether we're talking about AJ Dybantsa, Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, but I feel as though Darren Peterson is the best ball handler. And I feel as though I was being a little unfair to Cam Boozer with what he does off the ball, whether it's diving to the basket, sealing around the rim for rebounds, putbacks, or just being able to get the ball down low, the ability to play out of the short roll and make multiple level passes. Those are the things I feel as though I haven't really given him credit on, but with the ball in his hand, I still feel as though there's some concerns that I have with him and AJ Dybantsa that I don't with Darren Peterson, whether it's him dribbling to the middle of the floor. A lot of people can flash at him and he's quick to pick up his dribble, which is something that we could really see a lot with power forwards and small forwards and just a lot of really big forwards who don't have the handle that a guard like Darren Peterson would have. But then again, I still think Cam Boozer is an amazing prospect. The finishing around the rim can be a little bit iffy when it's around contact and when it's through congested lanes, but I feel as though him as a prospect is going to pan out probably just as much as Darren Peterson. And number 3, this is my most confusing prospect because I flirted with him between 1 and 3 for the past 2 to 3 weeks, and that's AJ Dybantsa. With his game, he shows me that he can be the best player out of the three when we look 5 years from now, because I just think his ceiling is higher than these two guys, and it really stems from the defensive end of the floor. When you have a guy that's 6'9" and has that foot speed and that length that he has, you look at him and say, this guy should be a really good defender. And maybe it's where he is. I just have not seen the level of defensive intensity that we've seen glimpses of in high school. Hopefully, if he goes to the right system, the right culture, maybe if he goes to Brooklyn or if he goes to a team with a real culture, he can bring that defensive side back out of him. I just have not seen that side of his game as much as I would like to in the college level. I also would love to see him get out and transition a little bit more. He's gotten a lot better as a ball handler as the season has went along. His mid-range shot has started to fall. He's shown some real signs of being a good, difficult shot maker, especially when he gets to the middle of the floor and plays out of the post. He has a really long wingspan that can help him on defense and offense. It's going to be really hard to contest that jump shot, especially when he gets his lift that we were talking about with the jump shot. But right now, his weaknesses just really like concern me. Like the ball handle still isn't where I want it to be. And this is why I said I was lower on him in high school, because I just did not see the ball handle, and the passing is still a real concern with him. So that's what's keeping him at 3 for me. If this was based on all ceiling and nothing of what you're showing right now, AJ Dybantsa would probably be number 3. But when we're looking at these 3 guys, you have to nitpick. You have to nitpick with these players because all 3 of these guys are so good. Up next, I'm going to be adding somebody at number 4 that I was really skeptical on to start, and that's Caleb Wilson. When I looked at Caleb Wilson initially, it really just looked like he had the athleticism that multiple guys in this top 20 don't have, and he really like capitalizes on his athleticism and what he can do in the half court as an offensive rebounder, as a transition player, as a finisher around the rim. And it just led me to think like this guy is really raw on the offensive side of the floor. He can't really create with the ball in his hand as consistently as you would want for him to be in the conversation with the top 3, which is what I'm comparing him to, because a lot of people put him in those conversations and I don't think he's there. But I still do think he's good enough to be a top 5 prospect in this draft class. And one of the things that has swayed me to the other side is you see the upside with the athleticism and you see the defensive upside, but his touch around the rim is really good. That's one thing that I looked at with Caleb and said, you know what, that touch around the rim is fantastic. And if he can build on some of the upside that we see from him on the defensive side of it, which is basically all on tools, because we're going to get to the defense in just a second. But as an offensive player, being a lob catcher, being an offensive rebounder to the level that he is, being able to play in transition to the level that he does, those are the things that I look at and say, this is a guy that can be top 4, top 5 in this draft class. It's between him and someone else that I'm going to be talking about next. But with Caleb, he has the defensive tools, but when I watch him on defense, he's pretty lost. Like when I see him on the defensive side of the floor, he follows the ball way too much, where guys can cut to the basket. Guys will be open on the perimeter for 3-point shots because he's just following the ball way too much, especially out of pick and roll. Like when I look at Caleb Wilson, I look at his size, I look at his athleticism and say that could be somebody that can contain someone on the perimeter while being a solid help side rim protector and a really good rebounder. Those are the things that I look at and say that could be a really good defender in this league, but as of right now, he's just not there. And again, this is something that can be progressed. Like there's a guy, the difference between him and Koa Peat to me was the upside as a defender. I don't think Koa Peat has nearly the upside as a defender that Caleb Wilson has, even though Koa Peat may be a little bit more refined as a half-court scorer. So that is one of the things that led me to pick Caleb Wilson ahead of Koa Peat. And some of the defensive things that I mentioned or that I touched on can be fixed because it's a mental thing. It's something that he can learn over time. Like, okay, maybe I'll tag a roller and get back to my man. Maybe I'll stunt at a defender in the pick and roll and get back to my man. Maybe I can help on a drive and dig at actions and help side rim protect and rebound and get out in transition. Those are things that can be learned because he has all the tools, and I think he has the will to be good on that side of the floor. We just have to see it be brought all together. And that's been my main gripe with him and AJ Dybantsa. Both of these guys have tremendous defensive upside. I want to see it be tapped into. That's the thing I want to see with Caleb Wilson and AJ Dybantsa. Those are the two things that I want to see with them. As for number 5, defense is not a question with Jaden Quaintance. And you guys know, last year's draft cycle, I was a Kaman Maluach darling. I love Kaman Maluach. That was my guy throughout the entire process. I think Jaden Quaintance might be my leader in this. You guys know I love bigs that can defend. I love bigs that can defend. I mean, what can you tell me? What can you tell me? I love bigs that rebound, protect the rim, even switch out to the perimeter. I love it. Jaden Quaintance does all of that. He has a really good second jump. He gets off the floor really well when contesting shots. He fights on the offensive glass. He fights on the glass period, whether... I don't know if you guys remember last cycle where I was talking about Thomas Sorber and how physical he is on the glass. I think Jaden Quaintance resembles that just a little bit. And he has real upside as a switchable defender, and he may not have the size to be a full-time starting five at the NBA level because he does stand at about 6'9" or 6'10", but offensively, I think he has a bit of ball handling chops to where he can be a solid enough offensive option to start at a 4, to where you can have somebody that can be an ultimate level help side rim protector, somebody that can be really switchable in pick and roll, somebody that can be really switchable on the perimeter. Now, I will say this, as far as like bigs that do switch out on the perimeter at this young of an age, they do bite on a lot of hezzies, a lot of crossovers, a lot of change of pace. Kaman Maluach had this same problem last year, but that's something that can be fixed. This is not something where I'm saying you're going to be switching through 1 through 5 consistently, but at the end of a shot clock, that's a job that he can get done. And I think Jaden Quaintance is the best defender in this draft, and I think it's pretty clear. The game that they had, I think it was against St. John's, where he had limited minutes. He had about, 8 points or 10 points, shot 5 for 7 from the field, 8 rebounds, and was like a plus 17 in the restricted minutes that he played. Jaden Quaintance is a monster, and let's just pray he does not go to OKC. Let's just pray he does not go to OKC, because those guys are going to have 2 picks in the lottery, possibly. Could be more, could be less. So let's pray he doesn't go to OKC. As for my number 6 prospect, this is another one of my guys. Mikel Brown Jr. When you look at Mikel Brown Jr.'s shooting splits, whether that's the field goal percentage or the 3-point percentage, I don't think that captures how good I think Mikel Brown Jr. is. When we take a look at Jeremiah Fears last year, he had the responsibility of creating so much offense for that Oklahoma Sooners team that his splits weren't the best. If we take a look at his college stats real fast, I think my mic just picked up me beating the shit out of my keyboard, but it is what it is. He shot 43% from the field and 28% from 3. Those are not great splits. But Jeremiah Fears was tasked with a lot on the offensive side of the floor for that Oklahoma roster. Where you look at Mikel Brown Jr. and you see his splits, you see the 38% from the field and 27% from 3. That's not great. No, it's not. But if we take a look at some of his film, the ability to create out of pick and roll is fantastic. As a pull-up 3-point shooter, as somebody that can get to the rim and finish above the rim, somebody that can make all of the reads in pick and roll, whether it's lay-down passes, whether it's lob passes, whether it's kickouts to the corner, Mikel Brown Jr. can make all of those passes, and he has an elite first step. Those are the type of things that I look at and say, this guy can be an A+ offensive player in this league. I see a lot of Malik Monk, but just with the passing potential of a James Harden. Like, again, I may be going a little bit too far with that, but I see it. And I really like what Mikel Brown Jr. has done for this Louisville team. Like, if we just look past the shooting splits, I think he could be an all-star in this league. And there's another point guard who I'm extremely high on, who I've moved into my top 7, and I'm going to compare those two guys in a second. But while we take a break, I want to talk about Koa Peat, who will be my number 7 prospect in this draft. Let's go ahead. I really like Koa Peat's size when we look at prospects. This is something that I've been harping on over the past couple of years. Like, do you have an NBA frame that can go into the NBA and be effective? Especially for guys like Koa Peat, guys like Jaden Quaintance, guys like Caleb Wilson, Cam Boozer, AJ Dybantsa. These are more just guys that play forwards and centers. Can you be as physically imposing as you were at the college level? I think Koa Peat can really do that. I think he can be extremely physical around the rim. He scores really well inside the arc, whether that's jab steps, playing at the elbow, being able to absorb contact, being an offensive rebounder. Those are the type of things I think Koa Peat is good at. And what led me to having him over or having him under Caleb Wilson was I just don't think Koa Peat has the defensive upside that Caleb Wilson has. I don't think he has the athleticism as well. Caleb Wilson's athleticism Oh, I wouldn't even say he doesn't have athleticism. I just don't think he has Caleb Wilson athleticism. This is where I think Caleb Wilson can be used in a multitude of different ways that Koa Peat cannot, because Koa Peat can't get off the ground like Caleb Wilson. He can't run in transition like Caleb Wilson, and I don't think he's a rebounder that Caleb Wilson is. I definitely think Koa Peat is a more well-rounded inside the arc scorer. That's something that Koa Peat lives on. I just think Caleb Wilson is on the margins. He's a little bit better, and that's why I had him over him. But top 7 is still really good. It's still really good. As for my number 8 spot, I'm going to go with my guy, Labaron Philon Jr. Labaron Philon has made an extreme jump from this year to last year, or last year to this year. Last year, I looked at him as a defensive guard who can play in transition. It can be somebody that can drive to the rim in the open floor. This season, he's become a well-rounded half-court scorer, whether that's with his first step, whether that's with the three-point shot increasing, or whether that's with just being able to create and get to the basket and have the first step that he does. He's gotten a lot better as a passer out of pick and roll, and he's still one of the best defensive guards in this draft, to where there's nothing more I can do but put him in the top 10. He's my second point guard off this list. Second point guard. And the thing that really set it apart to me was, I think Mikel Brown is probably just going to be a much better offensive player when we look at it in the future, whether it's the playmaking gap or the pull-up three-point shooting gap or whatever it is. The ability to just create shots to the level that Mikel Brown does. And I don't think it's a far gap when you can look at the defense and say Labaron Philon is a much better defender than Mikel Brown Jr. But I just think with the passing and playmaking next to the scoring, Mikel Brown Jr. is probably going to be more of an all-star level player. And that's what leads me to believe that Mikel Brown is going to be better than Labaron Philon Jr. As for number 9, I'm going to go with Tounde Yessoufou. Tounde Yessoufou is somebody that has improved a lot over the past few seasons. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot. At my number 9 spot, I will be going with Tounde Yessoufou, the shooting guard out of Baylor. This is another guy, physical profile. He's gotten much better as a shooter in the mid-range. He's gotten much better as a three-point shooter. As a high school player, this was somebody that I didn't look at that could be a consistent three-point shooter, but he's gotten much better at that. On top of the defense, being able to guard at the point of attack and play passing lanes to the level that he does, I feel as though that's something that could be extremely valuable for teams. At my number 10 prospect, I'm going to be going with Braylon Mullins out of UConn. Now, I didn't start the season as high on Braylon Mullins just because from the first couple of games, I haven't seen much from him. But as an off-ball player, as a shooter, and as a passer, I think those are the things that really strike me, especially with how good of a shooter he is. So Braylon Mullins will be at my number 10 spot. As for number 11, I'm going to go with Kingston Fleming, another point guard, somebody that just jumped on the scene and was just out of nowhere, was fantastic for Houston. This is somebody that guards at the point of attack, can get to the teeth of the defense, can shoot out of the mid-range, and is a really good defender too, as far as just playing in lanes and being able to dig at ball handlers, especially post players, and just guard at the point of attack. I think Kingston Flemings is going to be really good. As for my number 12 prospect, and this is somebody that's falling, and that is Nate Ament. Now, I've been talking about this to start the year, especially in that preseason game against Duke. I didn't see the on-ball creation. And over the past couple of games, if we just take a look at the stats real fast, Nate Ament has not played well over the past few games. Over the past few games, he's averaging 13 points per game on about 33% from the field. As you guys see, my internet just go out of nowhere, which is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, let's get that restarted. So far this season, he's averaging about 15 points per game, 7 rebounds and 3 assists, which isn't terrible. But then again, we look at the past few games from him. If we go to his game logs real fast, and we see that he's having games with 9 points. He had a 20-point game against Kansas, which was really impressive. 11 points against Syracuse, 9 points against Illinois, 13 points against Louisville. If we just take a look at his past 5 games, I will believe 5 or 6 games, he's averaging 13 points per game on 33% from the field, 27% from 3. He's averaging 11 shots per game, and 4 of them are coming from 3. Inside the arc, he's shooting 32%, so that's not helping either. He's also averaging 2.5 turnovers a game. Like, those are the things where it's just like, if that jump shot isn't falling, yes, he's shown some signs as a connective passer. He's shown some signs as an off-ball threat and a three-point shooter. But in high school, this was somebody that I thought could really be a solid on-ball creator, but be a better off-ball scorer. And he's shown some levels of off-ball play, but on the ball, it's just been really underwhelming for him. And I think that's something he just needs to figure out. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say 5-game sample size. I'm not going to drop you all the way out of the top 15, but this was somebody that was trending downward for me. I had him at 4 coming into the season, and then he fell to like top 10 around that 7 or 8 range. And now he's out of the top 10 around 12. So we're definitely going to be monitoring Nate Ament closely and see how he can do for this team. But it doesn't look the best. As for my 13th guy, we're going to be going with Chris Cenac. Chris Cenac is somebody that I probably would consider moving up ahead of Nate Ament just because I like his size and physical profile. Somebody that can rebound and be a rim protector, and somebody that can knock down a mid-range shot consistently off the catch and be a roller and lob threat. I like what Chris Cenac brings to this Houston team. As far as my 14th prospect, I'm going to have Thomas Haugh here. One of the most athletic prospects in this draft, somebody that runs up and down the floor in transition, can be a lob threat and shows like really good feel around the middle of the floor in the paint non-restricted area. He has a knack for really good touch shots and just really good maneuvers around the rim. So I'm definitely going to have him there. He can probably be like a really good plug and play guy. He's not the best 3-point shooter. He's shooting around 32% around the 3, which is mostly on just catch and shoot opportunities. If we can get his name up, here it is. He's a junior, I believe, and this year he's averaging about 17 points per game, shooting about 34% from 3 on 5 attempts. That's not terrible. He shot 34% last year. It's not awful. Like, I wouldn't sit here and say he's just a bad offensive player or a bad 3-point shooter, but I definitely think that could be a counter that he can use while being one of the better transition prospects in this draft. Now, for number 15, I'm going to go with Yaxel Lendeborg, who is a really good 3-point shooter, shooting about 40% from the three-point land. If we take a look at his stats real fast, and then he's also a really good driver and somebody that can create with the ball in his hand. I think he's a senior. He should be around 22 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, but this year he's averaging a good 15, 16 points per game, shooting about 40% from 3 on 4 attempts. He's just gotten a lot better as a creator for himself, shooting 59% from the field, shooting 80% inside the arc. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I think he's been really good this year. Now, mind you, half his shots are from 3, half his shots are inside the arc. He's only taking about 9 shots a game. But again, this is a team like San Antonio who could use like a little bit more shooting. I know they've been getting a lot of really good 3-point shooting as of late, but that's somebody that can draft and be like, okay, you can be a guy that can come in and shoot off the bench and make some plays off the ball and make some plays with the ball in your hand. So I think Yaxel has been really good this season. I think he's a top 15 prospect in this draft. As for my number 16 prospect, this is where I'm going to go Darius Akuff. Darius Akuff is extremely talented for his Razorbacks team with his shot creating ability and his on-ball creating ability. I just don't think he has the passing or defensive upside that a Kingston Fleming has, or a Labaron Philon or a Mikel Jr, to where I'm going to have him a little bit lower than those guys, but still a fantastic prospect, and I think he's really talented in his own right. As for 17, which is somebody I'm probably going to move up, I'm going to go Haugh Steinbach. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. I don't watch these games with the sound on. I usually just like listen to a podcast or something while I'm watching. Hans is the best rebounder in this draft, and he shows a lot of upside as a ball handler and somebody that can knock down an open shot. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be some type of lead initiator like you see a Danny Wolf type, but he's somebody that can take the ball and go in transition. He can drive a closeout, especially being the shooter that he is. It kind of makes it easier for him. So I'm actually like thinking about moving him up above Darius Akuff and above Yaxel Lendeborg. And that's probably how it's going to be right now. We'll probably see how much further along he comes into the season, but that's where I have him as of right now. As for my next prospect, I'm going to go Cameron Carr. Cameron Carr, somebody that started the season off really hot from 3. Somebody that can play with the ball in his hand, play out of pick and roll, play off the ball and run in transition really well. He looked a lot taller when I first started watching him till now. Like at first I'm like, this guy looks every bit of 6'7", but he looks a little bit more 6'5" now that I watch him a little bit more. But Cameron Carr is a great prospect, and I have him at my number 18 spot. At number 19, number 19, I'm going to be going with Bennett Sturts, the point guard out of Iowa, another point guard out of Iowa who can shoot the piss out of the ball. He's a really good shooter. He's a really good passer, but I don't see him creating an advantage to where those passes can be easier for him. So that's why I have him as my 4th ranked prospect, I believe, or 4th ranked point guard. 5. I have him as my 5th best prospect on this board. And to be completely honest, he's this close to being jumped by Christian Anderson, but we'll see. As for my 20th prospect on this draft board, I'm going to go with Isaiah Evans. And Isaiah Evans is a sophomore. He didn't get much burn at Duke last year just because of the players that they had with Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, Kaman Malawach, Sion James, Tyrese Proctor, all those guys. But he shows a level of speed and athleticism that helps him as an off-ball scorer. Like, if you're not the best on-ball creator, you can be a really good off-ball player. And how good he is as a three-point shooter and how good he is as a cutter and catching off motion and shooting off motion and shooting off the catch, those are the things that I deem really valuable with him, and that was good enough for me to put him at my 20 spot. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end with our top 20 prospects of this draft. At number 1, I have Darren Peterson. At number 2, I have Cam Boozer. At number 3, I have AJ Dybantsa. At number 4, I have Caleb Wilson. At number 5, I have Jaden Quaintance. At number 6, I have Mikel Brown Jr. At number 7, I have Koa Peat. At number 8, I have Labaron Philon Jr. At number 9, I have Tounde Yessoufou. At number 10, I have Braylon Mullins. At number 11, I have Kingston Flemings. At number 12, I have Chris Cenac. At number 13, I have Ament. At number 14, I have Thomas Haugh. At number 15, I have Haugh Steinbach. At number 16, I have Yaxel Lendeborg. At number 17, I have Akuff Jr. At number 18, I have Cameron Carr. At number 19, I have Bennett Sturts. And at number 20, I have Isaiah Evans. If you guys like this type of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at ATBSports1. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at @TheBuzzerSports_. And make sure you guys follow me on TikTok at @TheBuzzerENT. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.